Hi, this is MICORNUS, the leader and the founder of Church Governance Solutions. We are continuing with this great topic of speaking about growth indicators of, towards Christian maturity. Growth indicators towards Christian maturity. And we are embarking today on a growth indicator that is called biblical knowledge or doctrine, the knowledge. So this is very, very important. When we speak about somebody who's actually growing in Christian maturity, we're going to look at how much do you know the Bible. Because the Bible, remember, is the manual and the only manual for a Christian maturity process. And therefore, it is actually the manual for your Christian life. Now, it is going to be then a growth indicator whereby we can judge you based on that, or you can judge yourself based on that. Are you able to articulate the word? Are you able to understand the Bible? It's in and out. Are you able to use it on context? Are you able to know what the Bible says and also the master plan of God according to the Bible? Those are type of things that you look at and say, am I able to understand? Am I able to do those things? And that's very key, that you look at and say, yes, I can or I cannot. Then you can know whether you're growing or you're towards maturity or not. Now, Bible knowledge or biblical knowledge and doctrine knowledge becomes very, very important. Now, doctrine becomes very important because it is the spine of your biblical knowledge. And you understand some key aspects about the Bible and the whole purpose that God actually said His word in the Bible. And what is the master plan of God and all that. And it's actually embraced by what the doctrine is all about. And the knowledge of that as an individual, it actually gives an example of somebody who's actually on the pathway of maturity. Now, you are going to look at yourself and say, am I maturing? And how do you check on that? Do I know the Bible well? Do I know what is my doctrine? Am I embarking on my doctrine and following it? Very, very key. That you check yourself if you do that, and you will be able to know if you are maturing or you're growing as an individual. Now, look at, are you actively involved in studying the Bible? Because the Bible is not going to be known without studying it. And I want to emphasize the fact that we need to study the Bible. And if you study the Bible, you're empowering yourself, you know the Bible better, you understand what God speaks about in the Bible, and you would understand also the doctrine and be able to cause what we call a foundation of your Christian life and stand yourself on the principles of the word, knowing the Bible, what it says. That's very, very important. You can only know when you study the Bible frequently. And I must emphasize that it is very key that we read and study the Bible. We analyze what the Bible says. We look at the context that the Bible was written in and understand those contexts and therefore make use of those. And that's the only way we're going to know the Bible. And that's very key that we emphasize that. Now, make sure that you are not only studying the Bible, but you're stretching yourself mentally to learn more about the Bible. And as it is in the book of Hebrews chapter 4 verse 12, yes, you must stretch yourself. You must make sure that you're open-minded to an extent that you will learn new concepts about the Bible. You're able to teach yourself to say, I am open to understand the Bible. I'm therefore going to read it deeper, understand it more clearer, and become a better person based on that. I'm emphasizing this because it's very key for us to understand that the Bible is very key to understand if we are to look at it as an indicator of maturity in our lives. So biblical knowledge, very key. We need to make sure that we know the Bible very well. We must make sure that we are actively involved in studying the Bible and also stretching ourselves mentally to learn more about the Bible. Very, very key. But another growth indicator is service involvement. Now, I want to mention the service involvement because service involvement is very important. Are you aware of your ministry gift first? Because you cannot be involved in service without knowing what is your ministry gift. And many of us are actually doing church work. We are religiously engaging ourselves in church work. We are not aware of what our ministry is. Because when you know what your ministry is, you're able to serve God through your ministry. Because that's a gift that God has given you. So therefore, identify your ministry gift. And when you've identified your ministry gift, engage the work of the church based on your ministry gift. And that's an indicator of growth. And I want to emphasize also that when you don't know your ministry gift, you are going to struggle to know which department you fit in the ministry of God. You're going to struggle to know what are you supposed to be involved in the church. And that is why we're having a lot of people that are sitting back and very, very casual in church and watching like spectators in church, and therefore being critical about everything because they themselves cannot identify their ministry gift. They don't know what they're gifted in. They don't know what they're supposed to be doing in the church. And as a result, then the only thing that they know is to criticize others. And I'm emphasizing this because it is very important for you to identify your ministry gift. Because when you've identified your ministry gift, you are able to be busy with your ministry gift and have no time in criticizing others. And you must realize that hands that are busy are not having time to do silly works. And any mind that is engaged is not having time to be criticizing others. You're focusing on what you're doing. So therefore, you'll realize that it's only when you know your service involvement that you will not be looking at what others are doing. You will actually stop complaining about what other people are doing and stop criticizing people and focus on doing better for yourself. This is very important. And I'm emphasizing this because it is very key for us to understand that your ministry involvement or service involvement is very key. You must be aware of your ministry gift. And also, it is very important that you check if you're involved in an ongoing role in the church. Using your own ongoing role to serve others is very important. Serve others through your ongoing involvement. If you are in a church, you cannot remain a spectator forever. You cannot be watching like you're watching a movie in the church. You must participate. You must be part of what's happening in the church. And that becomes very key because that will actually be an indicator of maturity to you as an individual. And we're emphasizing this because many people have actually missed to know what is their ministry gift. And number one, they are not even involved as well in the church. And it's therefore very important that you get involved, you use your ministry gift, and you serve others in the church. And that will be an indicator of some way of maturity in you. Now, it is also very important that we look at humility as some growth indicator. Are you humble enough? Because people that are maturing, they start to become humble. And the more matured you become, the more humble you become. And I'm sure you've realized that. The more you grow, the more you become humble. And that's very key. And we emphasize in this as well, because many people are arrogant while they are Christians and claim to be growing and claim to be matured as well, but still very, very arrogant, still very, very proud as well, but yet they claim to be matured. Now, maturity, therefore, in Christian life is shown by humility. You would remember that Jesus showed a sign of humility in the book of Philippians chapter 2, that is the only thing that made him even to his name to be rated amongst, above all names. That at the call of that name, every knee bows and every tongue confesses. It's because of his humility that he humbled himself even unto death, and the death of the cross. And that's very important. Now, it is actually a demand for each and every Christian who claim to be on the path of maturing to work on your humility and become humble. Because if you don't become humble, then we cannot make a difference whether you're growing or you're getting matured or not. And that's very important that we emphasize the fact that maturity, a growth indicator of it, should be humility as well. Now, remember that when we speak about humility, we speak about you must demonstrate humility. You must admit when you are wrong. You must ask for help as well when you need help. Because there are people that are proud not to ask help when they need help. They are not able to say I'm wrong when they are wrong. And that is not humility. It is pride, therefore, when you are not able to accept when you're wrong. Now, avoid being defensive. Because defensiveness as well is a sign of pride. is a sign of arrogance. And we've seen people that are very defensive in everything that they do. And therefore, we have seen that people that are defensive in that way, they are not able to show sign of humility. Don't brag and serve others as well anonymously. Proverbs chapter 18, verse 12, very, very emphatic about that. It is very important that you are humble enough, you are demonstrating humility and admit when you are wrong as well as an individual. I want to close by a growth indicator called forgiveness, grace sharing. Now, forgiveness is one of the greatest indicators of maturity or growth. Many people cannot forgive. And when they forgive people that have forgiven them. Now, it is very important that you forgive, even when it looks like it's difficult to forgive. And that is a sign of maturity. Now, forgivers are people that we call grace sharers, because they're sharing the grace of God towards others. You are able to forgive quickly and avoid holding grudges as well, as it is in the book of Matthew chapter 18, when you read verse 21 to 22. Matthew chapter 18, when you read verse 21 to 22, you realize that forgiveness is very key, that you are able to forgive others as you are claiming to want to be forgiven as well. And I want to emphasize that when you look at the Lord's Prayer, it emphasizes that forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those that have trespassed against us. But yet sometimes we say those words, but we never forgive those that have trespassed against us. I want to end up here today. Your host, MICORNUS PHOKANE. Thank you very much for listening to us and being part of this great topic. We will wrap it up tomorrow. Please join us as we deal with this topic once more tomorrow as we wrap up. But in the meantime, don't forget our social media platform, Church Governance Solutions, Facebook page, MICORNUS PHOKANE Facebook page. So please like those pages, click notification buttons. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. Click notification button on those. You will be blessed as you follow us on the social media platforms. Allow me to check out right here and say cheers for now.